Hi, I'm Marty Pearson with IdealMarketers.com, and I'm here with Carolyn Cooper of SimplyHeal.com, and we're going to be talking about generational healing. So, Carolyn, can you give a definition of that, kind of explain it a little bit?
Sure. Well, I do energy healing work, which is clearing emotions and limiting beliefs, blocks, barriers, things that keep us from being our best selves. And how generational healing fits into that is we inherit cellular memories, we inherit good qualities and not such good qualities sometimes from our ancestors, and they trickle down through the family tree. And so generational healing is a way to release those energetically so that those patterns don't have to keep going through the family, through the lineage.
Okay, so what are some examples of things that might appear in that area?
Okay, I see it all the time with clients with financial issues. A lot of us have parents or grandparents, or some people watching probably great-grandparents, who have lived through the Great Depression, and so thoughts about money doesn't grow on tree, making money is a struggle, people with money are crooks, they're dishonest, you can't trust people who have a lot of money, there's never enough for us, if we get some, there won't be enough for other people, all of those kind of false beliefs. So I see it with money issues a lot. And also abuse, addictions. Addictions are interesting because an addiction is anything that when you allow your physical body to have precedence over your spiritual body, or your spirit. Mm-hmm. So an addiction may be, great-grandpa Joe had an addiction to whiskey, and somebody further down the line had an addiction to gambling, and someone in our generation has an addiction to pornography. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same addiction, but it's that thread of that urge, that desire, that negative thread of that can be pulled out. Depression. I've never worked on anyone with depression that has not also had ancestral issues with that. Grief, sorrow, loss, tragedy in the family lines, and it's kind of an underlying energy that rides with that person, and when we can clean that up, man, that helps them a lot to get past that hump, past that lower vibrating energy, and up to more joy, bringing in more joy in their life.
I was thinking about what you were saying about like the depression, people who live through scarcity and stuff like that. My great aunt used to talk about how they'd save buttons in a jar and
yeah,
different things like that. So what about people maybe who hoard or collect things?
Yeah,
would that go back to that possibly?
Yes, the fear of not having enough, that whole scarcity thinking. Yeah. There won't be enough, and I'm going to need this at some time. You never know when I'm going to need it, so I'm going to hang on to it right now.
Yeah,
because I can't let it go. Yet it's almost like an obsession, or in some cases it may be like a phobia, a fear. A phobia is an irrational fear. So phobias are almost always generational, because something that may seem like an irrational fear to us, well, if someone in your lineage started it, or died with unfinished business, and that energy of that got trickled down through the family tree, it shows up for you or somebody else as a phobia.
Okay. So, and then you clear it for the person way back, the originator of it, and then what happens?
And I say it clears the flawed thread out of the tapestry of the entire family tree. So it goes back to wherever it came from, clears from whomever else was carrying it through the family tree, and sometimes it skips generations and it goes sideways, cousins, siblings, anyone this way, and further down. People always ask me, well, if I clear some ancestral things on myself, what does that do for my children or future grandchildren? Well, yeah, it releases that flawed thread from the tapestry, so it's not there anymore. So yes, if you have children that also inherited that, it's cleaned up. It's transmuted. It's diffused is how I like to call it. And so of course it won't keep traveling down the lineage into great grandkids and great. It's not there anymore to be passed on.
So let's say that my grandfather has a trauma that happens to him or after my mother was conceived. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
And so his trauma, she's already been born, and that trauma happens to him 20 years after she's born.
Okay.
Is that going to get passed down, or is it
that's
stuck
a good
up
question. That's a tricky question, Marnie. Yes, but I see that almost more like a family imprint, because he had that trauma and she's already 20 years old, so she can pick up the energy of that as a family imprint. And we have society imprints, we have cultural imprints, we have all sorts of things energetically that we pick up. So that's how I would see that one, more so.
More than just the generational, like the cellular type, DNA type.
Yes. I don't know how deep you want to get on that. A little snag on that one is if he had some kind of glitch in his energy that helped create that trauma, that glitch could have been passed down to your mom.
Okay.
So
Well, that's cool. All right.
Yeah.